Hi, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for coming. My name is Pia Wong. I'm the Executive Director of Bring Me a Book, Hong Kong. Bring Me a Book is a nonprofit organization dedicated to improving family literacy. So all about trying to improve parent-child reading, trying to get more books into more schools and more homes, trying to get more parents and teachers empowered to read aloud for future success in school and life. Reading is, obviously, as your teachers, you know how important it is, but reading for pleasure is something we are so passionate about. And it's not just because, I have kids and I can see the enjoyment, but the research is there to prove it. There's lots of research out there. And who's better? Who knows the research best? We've got them here tonight, which is very exciting. So they can share with you the latest research, the old research, the new research, whatever you want. They know. They can help you answer any questions that you have about it. In terms of why we're here today, actually, just about, I think, 4 months ago, the PALS report, the Progress in International Reading and Literacy Study, came out, and where they had surveyed 43 countries around the world in terms of their reading habits and levels of achievement, for reading and so on. I don't know if any of you saw it, so I just want to ask you as teachers if you can guess who came top on the reading scores. Hong Kong. So what's it, we should be celebrating. Hong Kong kids are so smart, they're reading, they're doing great on the scores. What the media and what a lot of the Hong Kong people don't realize, and they didn't say in these reports, was actually, guess where Hong Kong came for interest in reading? Bottom. Guess where they came for motivation to read? Bottom. Guess where they came for confidence to read? Bottom. This is actually why we've set up this campaign. It's all about loving, loving learning. You can actually have fun while you learn, believe it or not. It doesn't have to be painful. We all understand, you guys are stressed. Parents are stressed. Can you imagine how the kids are feeling? I also want to say a big thank you to the Chen Yat-sen Family Foundation. Tina's here today. The foundation actually the ones who started bringing me a book in the first place. They're also the ones bringing our speakers out today to Hong Kong. They have been unbelievably supportive of everything that we do. Also want to thank Hong Kong Professional Teachers Union, Hong Kong Teachers Librarian Association for their support. I think many of you are here today because of their promotion. And finally, all our NGO partners. We are quite unique in the sense that we don't compete with other NGOs. We want to bring them on board. We want to share our knowledge and resources. We're all struggling with limited resources, so let's share it. Let's share the knowledge. Dr. Stephen Krashen is best known for developing the first comprehensive theory of second language acquisition and the co-inventor of the natural approach. On top of that, he is also highly influential throughout his life, both as an activist and an educational researcher. He has published over 350 papers, 425, or 426 papers and books on bilingual education and reading. So if anyone knows about this, I think you're the expert. And he's also a huge proponent of free voluntary reading during second language acquisition, which in his words is the most powerful tool we have in language education, first and second. He's also a black belt in Taekwondo, and he'll tell you, so we'll see some toughness in him later. He's fantastic. We really welcome both of you here today. Thank you.
I'm going to talk about how we acquire language, and I'd like to begin by not telling you about it, but by showing you. I'd like to take a few minutes and destroy the microphone here. I'd like to take a few minutes and give you a couple of sample language lessons. I'll give you 2 lessons, and you can tell me which one you like better. Here's lesson number 1. Wir werden jetzt anfangen, Deutsch zu lernen. Und ich möchte im Voraus sagen, dass nach meiner Meinung Deutsch ist eine sehr schöne Sprache. Und ich hoffe, dass Sie alle sehr viel Erfolg mit Deutsch haben werden. What do you think? Good lesson so far? You think if I kept talking to you like that, you'd pick up German? How about if I repeated it? Would that help? How about if I said it louder? Someone said slow down. Are there any German speakers here? Okay, if there were, they would tell you that was pretty slow, okay? How about if I wrote it on the board here? I know, I'll write it on the board, I'll erase every fifth word, and you guess what the word is. I like you. Very good. She should come more often, all my talks. That's great. Good. None of those things matter. None of those things mean anything. And you can see that now. Here's lesson number 2. Das ist meine Hand. Hand. Verstehen Sie das? Hand? Ja? Sagen Sie ja. Ja. Gut. Hand. Das ist mein Kopf. Kopf. Verstehen Sie Kopf? Ja? Ja? Gut. Also, Kopf. Kopf. Ist gut, ja? Ja. Hier ist Mr. Spock. Mr. Spock hat zwei Ohren. 2 Ohren, verstehen Sie das? 2 Ohren, ja? 1, 2. Also Mr. Spock, ja, ist gut. Augen. Verstehen Sie Augen? Ja, Augen. Wie viele Augen? 1, 2, 3 Augen. Ja, ist das richtig? Wir haben 3 Augen. Nein, wir haben nur 2 Augen. Ja, 2 Augen. Also Mund. Verstehen Sie Mund? Ja. Und hier ist eine Zigarette, ja? Nein. Zigaretten sind nicht gut. If you understood lesson number 2, not every word, but more or less, I did everything necessary to teach you German. I'm now going to share with you the most important concept I have learned about language, the best kept secret in the education profession. We acquire language in one way and only one way, when we understand it. That's it. We acquire language when we understand what people tell us or what we read. We call this comprehensible input. Comprehensible input is the magic ingredient for language acquisition. Now, this has given rise to a hypothesis, which I think is the core hypothesis of the field. We call it the comprehension hypothesis. We acquire language when we understand it. This means that if you get comprehensible input, if you hear stories, if you read, have conversation and people talk to you, go to movies, listen to the radio, and you understand what you hear and read, and it is interesting. It has to be interesting or you won't pay attention. The result is vocabulary, grammar, and all the skills. The cause is comprehensible input. The result is the skills. Vocabulary, grammar, and in literacy, spelling, all those things come from comprehensible input. Again, this is the cause, this is the effect. Now, this is also language acquisition and developing literacy this way is also pleasant. It must be pleasant or it doesn't work. The rival hypothesis is skill building. Skill building has cause and effect backwards. In skill building, now think of the language class you took in school, okay? First, you studied vocabulary and you learned grammar rules. You mastered the grammar until you had them perfectly. Then you were allowed to practice the rules, and someday you were told, you can actually use the language. You can speak, you can understand, you can read and write. In other words, skill building is delayed gratification. Comprehension, you can enjoy yourself right now. You can hear good stories right away. But in skill building, first you have to suffer. Pain, study grammar, study vocabulary, and the promise is someday you'll have a good time. Not true. The gratification never comes. No one has ever acquired a language from skill building. It has never happened. Let me show you some interesting points. Look at cause and effect. They're completely opposite. Comprehension says comprehensible input is the cause, the skills are the effect. Skill building says do skills first, that's the cause, and language use is the effect. It's opposite. This one, comprehension, is pleasant. This one is painful, skill building. This one works. This one doesn't work. So the comprehension hypothesis is win-win. The skill building hypothesis is lose-lose. Which one is the most popular in the world today? Skill building. For most people, skill building is not a hypothesis, it is an axiom. People believe this is true. They believe that learning languages are hard work, and the only people who can do it have a special talent. No, the people who are successful got comprehensible input. I'm going to focus on one part of the comprehension hypothesis. One important part, the foundation for what I'm going to say next. The reading hypothesis comes from comprehension. The reading hypothesis says that our literacy development, our ability to spell, our ability to construct complex grammatical sentences, understand what we read, write with a good writing style, all of this comes from reading. Reading because you want to. Free, voluntary reading. No questions at the end of the chapter. You don't like the book, you put it down, you pick up another one. Today, it is my pleasure to introduce a new hypothesis that our research team has been slowly putting together. This is my work, this is Dr. Lee's work, and a number of our colleagues. And my claim today is that this is a universal model with no exceptions. No one has ever developed academic language without going through three important stages.